Welcome. It's nice to see some new faces. What we're doing here tonight, we're looking at goals and the whole different ways of setting goals. My name is Fiona Campbell. I've been working with neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, for over 30 years. Now, NLP is the methodology of how we create behaviour. The behaviour was always there. Dr. Richard Bandler and John Grinder were the first two people that started asking the question in the 1970s of how does someone do something? How is someone really good at doing that? Rather than the question that was getting asked before that was why. So before that, it was people looking all the time for root causes and looking to see why something was happening. So one of the things I always say, NLP is not a thing. You can't go to www.nlp.com and buy 5 kilos or 5 litres of NLP. The methodology of NLP gives you a set of skills that help you understand and break down how someone is creating their behaviour. So one of the things we know about goal setting is it's too easy for someone to say, yeah, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to achieve that, I'm going to achieve the next thing. When you have NLP skills, you can identify whether someone is actually connected to that goal or not. So let's just start here. So one thing we've got to think about, first of all, when we're setting goals, is we have our inside world. And the inside world, according to me, is everything inside your skin. So that is your feelings, your beliefs, your hopes, your dreams, your expectations, your fears, your confidence, your values, your experience, your disappointments, your knowledge, your imagination, and that's where emotions live as well. If you can imagine from the outside world, all the information you're getting from the outside world, everything you're taking in from the outside world, you have to take in through your senses. You've got to take it in through what you hear, what you touch, what you smell, and what you taste. Feelings is in the inside world, okay? So what we have to do is we have to filter information to create our own edited version of any situation. In NLP, we call this our map of the world. And then we have, so this is everything in your inside world. Then we have the outside world. The outside world is family, friends, colleagues, home, office, car, products, services, KPIs, results, targets, actions, and stuff. It becomes really easy to set a goal in the outside world. And the chances of you achieving that goal in the outside world are totally to chance. There is no connection with that. And you'll hear this. Now, remember, for over 30 years, I've been working with NLP for business and coaching. So I am working with companies, I'm working with business professionals, I'm training and coaching them. So I'm working constantly with goal setting. And it's quite amazing when you can calibrate and listen. You'll hear someone say, yes, I want to be a director in 5 years' time. And you just know it's never going to happen because they're paying lip service to it, but there's no inner connection. So what we're doing here is showing you how you can get that goal into your inside world. To help someone to become motivated to achieve anything, you have to get into their inside world first to find out what works for them. Later on in this presentation, we'll give you a list of questions because they're really brilliant questions for figuring out if someone is going to achieve it, what's happening in their inside world. And goals only get achieved when you have a clear pathway forward. We now know that the brain doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. That's been proven by neuroscience. That is why people can be having a terrible, traumatic time in the comfort of their sitting room about something that happened 20 years ago. The phenomenon that's called is revivification. Revivification means to relive. Anyone who trains in hypnotherapy, they know this term of revivification. In other words, it's the way that the brain will take your body, will release the same chemicals as when you went through that really bad time. Your brain is capable of releasing the same chemicals and getting you into that state. But guess what? The brain doesn't have to just release bad chemicals. The brain can release good chemicals. If you imagine it's a cocktail shaker you've got up here, depending on what thoughts you have. So what you can do is, if you're imagining that, these are things, if you're able to relive stuff from the past as if you're actually there, we know that you can relive something from the future. It's called a future memory. The biggest future memory that everyone builds is booking a holiday. This is not who stuff. Who's all looked at, once upon a time, used to go to a travel agent and get a brochure. Some people still do that. But now it's right, where are we going to go? First of all, you set it, you decide roughly when you're going to go. And then you start looking, you start pinning down an area you're going to go to. And then you start to get into proper goal setting. You start to get specific. What type of place do I want to stay in? Do I want to stay self-catering? Do I want to look after myself? Do I want a villa that we can do our own thing, home from home? Or do I want a hotel? Or do I want a little pensione? Or do I want... So you start to break down what you want. Then you look at budget. Now, the interesting thing about holidays, who's paid more for a holiday than expected to? Every single person has paid more. And why did you pay more for that holiday? You paid more because you absolutely decided you had to go there. There was no choice. Who, before they go on holiday, especially if you're going beach body ready, that's me way years ago, that doesn't happen anymore. But people who are going beach body ready, what are you doing? You're actually taking yourself onto that beach. You're imagining yourself on the beach. You're imagining yourself doing this, doing that, doing the next thing. Who's ever gone on holiday and it's been the biggest disaster they've ever had and it's been a total disappointment? Disappointment requires adequate planning. Right, I love that phrase. You cannot get disappointed unless you've planned. Okay? So I like to use this analogy is this is not something we don't do. It's something anyone who has dreamt about a holiday, booked a holiday, got very focused on a holiday, got excited about a holiday, has done exactly the format, the strategy that we need to bring in. If you're wanting to set something for a business goal or a personal goal or your own company goal, this is what you have to bring in here. When you have a clear pathway, and you help someone feel validated, listened to, understood, and appreciated. Our brains are also like GPS systems. Our brain responds to anything we tell it. So if you give yourself a fuzzy message, your brain will give you a fuzzy response. If you get very clear on what you're wanting to achieve by when, your brain does an amazing thing. Because we are filtering information, we are deleting, distorting, and generalizing most of the information we come across. Who's got children here? Put your hand up if you've got children. Okay. Who's ever had a car? Who's got a car? Okay. So you've either got a car or you've got a child or you've had a child. Those of you with children, can you remember the first time you took out a pram or a buggy or a stroller, and all of a sudden the whole world was filled with other people, babies and strollers, and you went, where did all these babies come from? Okay. Or you had a blue car and you've changed it for a red car, and all of a sudden the whole world is full of red cars. This is what's called your reticular activation system in work. It's the part of your brain that pays attention to what you're thinking about. So when you get really clear about wanting, and one of the best ways, I'll give you a fun way to do this. Who can never find parking spaces? I'm not actually putting my hand up for that because I know how to find, because I set a goal to find parking spaces. I set a goal. I set a very clear goal. And when I go, especially if it's a multi-story or I've had to do a few hospital visits, and hospital car parks are notorious for always being full, I set the goal to say, I find a parking space easily and effortlessly. And because I say I find a parking space easily and effortlessly, my brain starts looking for all the signals of either a parking space or a reversing light of someone just about to come out, or someone with their keys and some shopping bags, and you know they're going towards their car, you start noticing all the things that will bring you a space. Whoever says to themselves, I will never find a parking space. Okay? If you say to yourself, you'll never find a parking space, you're right. Because your brain doesn't know what to look for. Because the brain doesn't process the negative. Even to the extent of finding a parking space, that can be a goal. As long as you're absolutely clear on that goal, you're much more likely to see it. And that's a good one that you can check really quickly. And also, if someone is valuing and appreciating you from a coaching point of view, we now know from neuroscience, if someone believes in you, you're more likely to achieve that goal. Also, I was just on a networking event just before here, and I made a commitment to 20 people that were on my mastermind group. I made this commitment that I am going to achieve a certain thing within 6 months. It's going to be done. It's actually going to be done by the 31st of July, 2024. So having someone believing in you, actually committing to someone, verbally committing that you're going to do someone, and being accountable to someone makes a huge difference. Think of people that have really believed in you in the past, especially in business. Maybe you were struggling with something and someone really believed in you. What does that make you do? That builds your confidence, because you almost want to achieve what they believe in you for them, not necessarily for yourself, but because they believe in you. So we've got SMART goals. SMART goals are just specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And as I said before, anyone can set a SMART goal. And the majority of SMART goals that get set in business don't tend to get achieved. They go out there somewhere, but they're said in a very dissociated way. It's almost a flippant, of course I'm going to achieve that. I will achieve that. I might achieve it. I could achieve it. But you're not bringing it into the inside world. So when you're setting a SMART goal, it must be stated in the positive. Say what you want to happen, not what you don't want to happen. And it must be in control of the person setting the goal. If I say to you, don't think of blue rabbits, stop thinking of blue rabbits. Who's thinking of a blue rabbit? Who's decided, I'm not going to think of a blue rabbit, but I'm going to think of a green rabbit? You always get someone that decides to go a bit awkward and say, no, I'm not thinking about a blue one, I'm thinking of an orange one. Yeah, but you're still thinking of rabbits. And you weren't thinking of rabbits before. Because the word blue rabbits was in the sentence, the brain has to think about that. So when we say stated in the positive, we don't mean I'll be good at this, or this is a good thing to happen, or this is a positive thing. We're talking about say what you want to happen, not what you don't want to happen, because the brain only responds to commands. You've got to be very clear with your brain, because if not, if you say I don't want to do something, your brain will think about what you've just told it not to do. Desired state must be in the control of the person setting the goal. So if someone wants to be promoted, they can't set a goal to be promoted. They can set a goal to show up at the interview process or show up at the promotion process with the right set of skills and applications, and they've let the right people know, because the ultimate decision for the promotion is in the outside world. It's not in that person's inside world. You've got to look, in order for you to be considered for promotion, what are some of the things you can focus on that you can do to develop? And that's very important, especially if you're working with business coaching, to know the difference and work with this inside-outside world. And also, and I say this, these are the words I say, I'll say, can you see, hear, feel, maybe smell and taste what it's like when you've achieved this? I was doing this a few weeks ago. We were working with a big organization with their senior managers, and they were just setting goals before we got to the well-formed outcome part. And the minute I got enthusiastic, I was working with someone, demonstrating with someone, and you have to, if you're a coach or a leader working with helping people achieve goals, you've got to go there first. You can't go, okay, so what are you going to achieve? Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's it. You've actually got to embody that motivation. And you've got to transfer that motion. So we call it an NLP transferring sort of state transfer. So this particular girl I was working with, I went, what's it going to be like when you achieve? Just say, take yourself into that day. You walk into that boardroom and you walk down and you take your seat and your name of directors there. How does that? And she went, oh my goodness, I'm tingling. And that's the minute I went, yeah, here we go. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a physiological change. Because if you get that physiological change, you have locked that sat nav or GPS system of the brain. You've locked it onto that goal. Because any goal that is worth achieving, you will get absolutely challenged. Some of you have heard me say this, but I say this a lot. Who's got a rubbish social life? Put your hand up, get rubbish. Who would like to maybe lose a little bit of weight and get a little bit slimmer? Okay, go on a diet. The best way to improve your social life is to go on a diet. The minute you start restricting your food and the type of food, I can almost guarantee someone will invite you for dinner. Someone will mention something. You'll get some sort of thing that comes up and completely tries to spoil this goal that you've set for yourself. So when you've got an internal motivation, that will keep you powering through the challenges. And that's the difference between just setting a SMART goal and getting someone totally motivated. So engage all the senses, use sense words, paint a picture. Really paint a picture of how that's going to look, how it's going to sound, how it's going to feel. Get them talking about how they will look, how they will sound, how they feel. How will they hold their body? How will they dress? How will they use their voice? What's going to change with their voice tone? What's got to change with the language they use? What's got to change with their behavior? And it's well known in business that the people most likely to be promoted into leadership positions are the people that act like leaders. The people who model and they model in dress, they model in confidence, they model in the way they talk to people, and they're always helping and developing. And we're talking about not the old command and control way where managers used to work with command and control managing, and that was managing. But leaders now, companies are always looking, who's stepping up? Who's helping other people? Who's developing the people around them, even when they haven't got a label? Going there first and actually being willing to share, being willing to develop and willing to help people. And then we have the ecology check. How will achieving this affect family, friends, health, job, etc.? Any goal that is worth having has got an impact. Every single one of you have made the effort to be on here. Now, if it's the UK, it's this evening. I know Lawrence is from India, it's the middle of the night. Thelos, she's joining from South Africa. So we've got people coming from different places. You're in Dubai. Sorry, I'm just, as I'm doing this, I'm looking and seeing where everyone is. I know Dennis is in the States. So you've all made an effort to come here. What have you got to give up for your success? Because you've always got to give up something. What will you gain for your success? And it's understanding that a lot of people are not willing to do that. So you've got to look and see how will achieving this impact on other areas of your life, your family, friends, health, and your routine. Children, if someone gets a promotion to move abroad, how will that affect schooling for their children? Now, here's a business example. Increase annual revenue by 15% between the next financial year. So what you're doing with a SMART goal is you're being very specific. You're putting specific measurables in there. When I'm doing goals, I like to ask you to write them either in present tense and sometimes even in past tense. I have achieved such and such. I present confidently, or I presented confidently. I presented confidently at the conference, but the conference is not till October. But if someone's saying I presented confident, not I will present confidently. Modal operators, and modal operators are will, could, should, can, might, must, have to. The minute you've got any of them before a word, you're creating a condition. So I achieve, not I will achieve, because it could be I won't achieve it, according to the brain. You're wanting to give the brain really simple instructions. So I increase annual revenue by 50% within the next financial year. Okay, so that's something we know, and I might even get really picky and say, give us the exact date in the financial year you want to do that. So this goal specifies the target to increase the annual revenue. Measurable, the goal is measurable using financial data and can be tracked throughout the financial year. Achievable, the 15% increases are realistic based on market trends, past performance, and available resources. That's where, when we're looking at achievable, someone says to me, I will have a university degree by the 15th of September 2024. All right, what university are you going to? Is that achievable? Is it realistic? It's not realistic. The minimum for most university degrees is 2 years. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can do it in 6 months now. But you've got to look at if something's realistic. And you've got to take other things. You've got to take life into consideration as well. And then relevant, increasing revenue aligns with the overall business objective of growth and profitability. Something a lot of people miss in goal setting is, what's the relevance of this goal? How is this relevant? How will this, what's it going to change? Where does it fit? So sometimes just asking, so what's the relevance that we can have the R as realistic, but also you can have the R and the SMART goal as relevant. How relevant is it? And then time bound. The goal has a specific time frame of it's 1 financial year. Okay, so here's a coaching example. Help my client develop effective communication skills within 3 months. Now, in this situation, I would be more inclined to say, what specific communication skills? But sometimes you don't have to do that, because I'll show you where I would also check it. I would say, so specific, the goal focuses on develop effective communication skills. So I would get someone saying, if this was their goal, I would say, okay, what's happening with the way they're communicating, what with whom? Because communication is not a thing. Again, you cannot go to www.communication.com and buy 5 kilos. Communicating is a process. When you're looking at measuring communicating skills, who's communicating what with whom? Or who's not communicating what with whom? And what's the impact of that? And how is that going to change when these skills are increased, when someone's able to increase these skills? So there's lots of ways you could look at getting this measured. The improvement in communication skills can be measured, in this case, through client feedback and assessment. So this could be, there was lots of problems with clients, and then the person I was coaching goes and teaches communicating skills, maybe to customer service people, and all of a sudden client feedback becomes a lot better. I know when we do we do an enhancing communicating and coaching program. It's a 2-day program. We run 2 days in person, then we run 8 weeks of sending videos and emails, and then we do a half day online. And the communicating skills just go straight up with this. And these are the kind of things we're measuring. So what was the difference? How was that absolutely measured? Achievable, depending on communication skills, is realistic and attainable objective through coaching interventions and practice. So that's how that person's going to do it. They're going to, it's realistic. Yes, we can do this, and we can coach the people. We can have coaching interventions, we can have practice, or we can train them. So sometimes if you check, and see, this is just from SMART. So how are you going to achieve this? How can this be achieved? Relevant. Effective communication skills are essential for personal and professional growth. Good communication skills are really important for our company, for keeping our customers happy, for keeping business growing. So you've always got to get it measured into how you're going to see the difference. And then time bound. The goal was a specific time frame of 3 months. And then a new manager. I do a lot of working with new managers. Increased my team's productivity by implementing a new project management system, resulting in a 20% reduction in project delivery time. So there's a couple of things in there. We're looking at a 20% reduction in project delivery time and increase the team's productivity. In this situation, all we're looking at is the 20% reduction in project delivery time. Okay, that's the particular part of the productivity we're looking at. Very often new managers are too busy setting too many goals with too many things to focus on, and you cause, has anyone ever had that? Where you've got this and that, and your brain just goes into, and you go into what's shut down. It's freeze me. You press too many keys on your computer at the same time. They're not as bad now, but once upon a time, I had great fun with computers. I was freezing it all the time. Specific. With this, you can see the goal clearly outlines the objective of implementing a new project management system to improve teams' productivity. Measurable, the goal includes specific, a 20% reduction in project delivery time, which can be measured to assess the success of this initiative. Even if it got to 15%, you're moving in the right direction, even 10% moving in the right direction. Achievable. As a new manager, you should assess the feasibility of implementing a project managing system within the given time frame and resources. Consider factors such as budget, team size, and technological requirements. A lot of new managers are desperate to make changes, and we've got to pull them back to the ecology check. Hang on. Take time, assess what can be done, and making changes step by step. So sometimes they've got a big goal and you've got to break that goal down. You've got to help them break that goal down. And then relevant, developing the team's productivity aligns with your responsibilities and contributes to the overall success of the organisation. And then time-bound, the goal sets a clear time frame, 6 months, providing a deadline for achieving the objective and promoting accountability. In every one of these cases, I've said a time, what, 6 months or whatever, but what we would look here at doing is getting people to write down the specific date that they want to achieve that by. Engage all your senses, see how it looks, feel how it feels, hear how it sounds. Use these words. Actually say that to people. See how it looks, feel how it feels, hear how that sounds. And you take yourself into a good motivated state as you achieve this now. That's a little bit of hypnotic language. As you achieve this now. So you've taken this thing that's happening out there and you've just told your brain to imagine it now, not at some future date. Why wait to enjoy the feeling of having achieved that when you can actually achieve it now? This is what Olympic medalists do. And then timeline your goals and milestones. Now, NLP timeline refers to the way you organise the concept of time on the inside. Everyone needs a way to differentiate among personal, past, present, and future. Make sure your goals, your timeline, and you're able to visualise achieving it. Point to where your future, if you can imagine this is the present, just put your hand out to where your future is. Okay, some of your future will be there in the past. Dennis, out of curiosity, is your past there? So you're like that, yeah? Okay. Some people, their future's there and their past is behind them. So what I want you to do, I want you to imagine a goal that you haven't achieved yet and point to your future and then point to where that goal is with your other hand. So you're using two hands. So your goal's below your timeline, Dennis, yeah? So what I want you to do, I want you to imagine bringing that goal that's maybe off your timeline, bring it onto your timeline so you can actually see it in however you visualize the future. See how it looks, feel how it feels, hear how it sounds as you imagine achieving that. Turn that up even more than that. And how much stronger does that goal feel? There you go. I'm seeing some smiles. Feel the difference. What are you getting at, Dennis? Can you let me I want you to share what you just got there. So that was great to see.
I could very easily feel the change in energy in my hands. I could feel that tingling kind of thing. And as I smiled into it, I was right there achieving it.
There you go.
Amazing stuff.
And this is where we have a way neurological, and this is why NLP breaks all this down for us. We know people are doing this. And people, but you'll see people go, I just put it off. I just keep putting things off. What are they putting them off? They're putting them off their timeline. Because when things are on your timeline, they get done. It's as simple as that. Whether your timeline runs in front of you or whether it runs front to back, doesn't matter. In Dennis's situation, his goal was, his future was there, his past was there. And it was definitely a line here, but this goal he had was down there. That's why I asked him to bring it up and onto that line. And then all of a sudden it feels totally connected. Sometimes it feels like magic when that happens, but it's not. You're just working with the magic of the brain. Okay, so here's your checklist before I put you into the breakout rooms. Have you made a decision to achieve this? The number of times that people don't ask this, how long does it take to make a decision? Who knows how long it takes to make a decision? It takes a nanosecond to make a decision. How long does it take to decide to make a decision? How long's a piece of string? It can take years, it can take days, it can take months. But when you make that decision, the neural pathways in your brain change. And all of a sudden, you're clicked into a route towards getting that. So this is a fabulous question. Just say, have you made the decision to achieve this? And you'll see people looking at you going, actually, I hadn't thought of that. And most of the time they haven't. What motivates and inspires you to achieve this? Do you have the skills and knowledge to do this? Have you done this before? Do you know the steps to do this? How will you know when you've achieved it? That's an important one to ask. How will you know when you've achieved it? How will you know when you get there? What will you see? What will you feel? What will you hear? Who will you be? So another one, how will you measure the outcome? And let me give you an extra one that's not here. What identity do you need to step into to achieve this? That's another one that's not on that list. How committed are you to achieving this goal? Write down the goal with today's date and the date that will be achieved and sign it. So you actually get people to write it down and sign it. But if you ask someone about what identity do you have to step into to do this, that's when someone is maybe moving into senior management. It's a whole different shift going into leadership as from managing. Manages one thing, into leadership's the next. So we're going to break out. So we're going to go in for 6 minutes tonight and just go and say hello to each other and just share either what you're taking away from today or a way that you set goals, but just have a wee chat and we'll start to bring you back out in 6 minutes. Okay, so let's get a little bit of feedback. Just feedback from one or two people. What did you get from that?
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
Can I just ask a
Of course
question?
you can.
It was something I just did at the finish, but we got cut off. When you're talking about the beginning, when you've made the affirmation about your car parking space,
yes,
I will find, and you turn on all those senses.
Yeah.
When I go away to Cornwall, I always know that the car park where I want to park the car is going to be full ridiculously
Oh, right,
early.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We always get there almost when the car park opens, so I can pick my space.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that smart goal setting, or is that me just problem solving potential problems?
It's problem solving because what you've said there is it's always full.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it isn't when I get there because it's just
you're there. Yeah, that's belts and braces. You're making sure that. But one of the things that I had an incredible learning experience. Now, if anyone needs to go at 1:45, I know we're running a few minutes late. But I used to sell closed circuit television systems. And I got in to see the very first town in Scotland. It was Falkirk. Was the very first town in Scotland that a full town-wide closed circuit television circuit system. And sitting in a control room, watching all the car parks. They're moving all the time. It's unbelievable. There's spaces coming all the time. You just have to sit and watch it. So there's always spaces coming, and I now have that absolutely embedded knowledge. I know there's always a space coming. Mm-hmm. What you're saying about, I know that there's a big belief when you go to places like Cornwall, and I know Anne's down in Devon, these are very crowded spaces with very small places, streets and alleys and things. So in this situation, I wouldn't say rely totally on setting a SMART goal and then hoping that one will turn up. For it to work for you in that situation, you have to absolutely, of course, I'll get a space. And where I proved that for me was when my dad was alive and had to go to hospital treatment once a week. and I was able to take him once a month. So he was going to a big major hospital in Glasgow, and every time we got in the car, I used to say, "Can we have a space, please?" And he kept saying to me, "You're a bloody witch," called me a witch. And every time we got a space, and I would also say, "Can we get a space near the door, please?" I would be very specific. But he would go with 3 other people when I wasn't there, who drove around for ages. They would drop him off and maybe take the whole of his appointment before they were able to come and pick him up again. He was waiting after his appointment. They still hadn't parked. And he saw that week after week. And he said to me, "How are you doing this?" I said, "Because I'm just setting my brain to watch out for a space." So in that situation, if you want to be absolutely sure of getting a parking space in Cornwall at holiday time, stick to the solution that works for you. But you might be surprised at how many more parking spaces you start to see. Because you have to have a convincer, and my convincer was watching cars moving in and out of a closed circuit television system and just seeing there's always spaces. It's unbelievable the amount of movement that human beings have. Okay, so thank you for that. So just before we finish, I just want to share with you, I've got a special offer at the moment. Hang on, let me see if I've got it in the chat. I've got it was just one that I released today. I've not actually started marketing yet. Achieving Objectives for Success, and I thought it was perfect for tonight. Normally, this is a self-learning online course. Normally, it's $97, and for tonight, $37. So that's the link. You don't have to buy it just tonight. That link will be around for a couple more days. But that's self-learning. Anyone who signed up to my Professional Growth Club, do not buy this because you've already got that in the Professional Growth Club. We've closed that club, but all the courses are still there. And then if you're NLP trained and you would like to find out more about how we work with NLP for business, we've got how to choose the NLP meta model for business. Again, that's a self-learning course, and we have a 75% discount. That's $99. I will send out the link for that on the email that will come out tomorrow. And also, if you're interested in finding out about the the NLP Business Circle Club. The NLP Business Circle Club, and there's quite a few people here are members of the club. This is a club for people who are NLP trained. We meet twice a month for 2 hours. It's the second Tuesday of the month, and second Tuesday it's 12 till 2 UK time, and the fourth Thursday of the month it's 7 till 9 UK time. 2 hour masterclasses. We've normally got 40 minutes to an hour of practice in the breakout rooms. Members get access to all the video recordings of every single masterclass since December 2020, because that's when we started. Plus, you get the videos, the audios, the workbooks, and we've just opened up the community. We're playing around with the community at the moment. It looks as if we're going to be setting up a mastermind group within that community to keep accountable. But that's going to be a place where members get to connect with each other. You get to see each other's profile. We do some live meetups, and we only opened it like a couple of weeks ago and very early stages, but a lot started to come. I want that to be the hub, the international hub for NLP professionals. Okay, if you want any information about that or anything else, email me at fiona@theprofessionalgrowthcompany.com. I would also offer you a 45-minute strategy, it's between 30 to 45 minutes strategy session, which is complimentary. If any of you have already had the strategy session and would like another one, book it. And we can either talk about that will be time. I will do some coaching with you, but obviously I'll let you know about coaching and NLP training. And we've got our next NLP dual certification starts next Thursday. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. We've got a few people coming on that one, which is nice. Okay, next week, rapport building. So we're going to be playing about with rapport. Give yourself a big round of applause. If anyone wants to have a chat with me, hang on, I'll be here for a few minutes. And tonight I don't have to run out for dinner. I had to run out for dinner last week. But we'll see you soon. I'll put the recording off. Thank you very much. Spread the word. Let people know we're here. This is just a resource to really help people, whether they're NLP trained or not, and especially people that are not NLP trained and they want to find out about NLP. This is the place to send them. Okay, so see you soon.